Crypto Kids, welcome back to another video where you're never too young or too old to make money in crypto. Right now is a time of of high importance in terms of price action. Yesterday's video was titled Bitcoin Pump Incoming, and I want to tell you on today's video that I'm still rather bullish in my bias and I have some reasonings for you, which I would love to share. But guys, if you are having a great Sunday, if you like watching the Crypto Kid videos, make sure to destroy the like button for me and subscribe to become a Crypto Kid if you are not one yet, because we make these videos on a daily basis. Whenever we have breaking news, we sometimes even make 2 or 3 videos. So if you appreciate that, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. It's going to be somewhere around here. If you want to claim a free $1,000 trade, then you can actually use the first link in the description down below to click the sign up button at the top right hand section, put your email address in, create a password, and that's it. You make your account, so you go down, you scroll to the new user rewards, link your phone number, get $10 for free, and then if you press download now to download the Weeks app onto your phone, then you can get a free $1,000 Ethereum position to go ahead and trade with, and whatever profits you make are going to be completely yours. So make sure to take that advantage and opportunity and subscribe to the channel. And with that said, let's go into our Bitcoin price analysis. So something very important happened. Bitcoin, first of all, obviously, if you haven't watched the previous videos, a quick recap. We came down, we closed the CME gap perfectly. I said, though, that we will likely come down a little bit more than the CME gap because of the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands on the daily time frame coiled up in a very strong way. And as soon as we broke below the lower band, I said, look, this is whenever Bollinger Bands squeeze on higher time frames, like the daily time frame, I consider it to be a higher time frame, and then you see the breakdown, it usually means that you're going to have a more significant move. And the Bitcoin CME gap closure at the 114 mark, for me, wasn't significant enough. So we decided to make the analysis saying that I think it doesn't have to be 100% like this, but I think there's a very good chance that Bitcoin comes down, retests to the prior resistance of the inverse head and shoulders that formed on the weekly time frame. Why? Well, if you go actually back into the price action on the monthly time frame, you can notice that Bitcoin created almost exactly the same inverse head and shoulder pattern. Following a break to the upside, you saw a double candlestick formation with a shooting star and an uncertainty candle following it. On the weekly time frame, you saw a shooting star and kind of an uncertainty candle following it too. This double candlestick formation that took place on the weekly heavily correlates with the breakout double candlestick formation on the monthly and can suggest a retest to the inverse head and shoulder resistance. And then with the M2 money supply heading to the upside too, then after the test, we can continue moving to higher price territories. So far, that's exactly what happened, which is great news, right? Because we put some limit orders, I've been fully long on Bitcoin on weeks anyways, but hopefully you guys were able to put some limit orders to buy Bitcoin at the support, at the CME gap. So that means that you have some decent long positions on Bitcoin now, and I think it's a good time to be decenting regardless, even if we see a potential drop to the downside, which I will assess that scenario. So Bitcoin, let's put the facts in, right? We're at good supports on the inverse head and shoulder resistance. We have M2 money supply, liquidity. That's what Bitcoin cares about. That's heading to the upside. On top of this, you have great linear supports on the daily time frame. And finally, you are bouncing from the 50 SMA over on the daily time frame too. So overall, great support. Bitcoin new CME gap from this weekend created at 114, 325. So short-term recovery is expected. Even if you go down to the 1 hourly time frames for Bitcoin, you're going to notice a bullish divergence on the RSI. So in the short term, I think it's very possible that Bitcoin bounces to 114, 500 to 114, 350. A very good place for Bitcoin to bounce. But after we see the bounce, are we going to continue to head higher? So look, I think the facts that we see with these different indications, they are pointing in the bullish way. And so far, I'm not changing any of my positionings. The only thing that I did do is de-risk a couple of my altcoin positions, and I share that with you over the previous videos, and I will talk about altcoins in a few minutes. But with Bitcoin specifically, I'm still bullish. I like the sentiment and how bearish it is. I think it's great. I like the technical indications that are on my chart right now, and I'm not flipping bearish. The only points that I would flip bearish, and if I do, I will make an update video as soon as possible on this channel, so subscribe, turn on the notification bell. The only points that I would flip bearish is if Bitcoin fell below $500 with a confirmation on the daily time frame, that's the only point I would be flipping bearish. But if that doesn't happen, then, I mean, if that happens, that's the only time we flip bearish. But so far, based off of what I can see, there isn't any major reason to be, from my end, to say, you know what, this is the warning time, and I'm going to go out of crypto, out of Bitcoin. No, I don't think that is the case. People usually tend to say that August is bearish and September is bearish, but they forget that in the post-halving year, which is what we're in now, the August months are always great. So post-halving year, which is when Bitcoin is experiencing its euphoric phase and we enter into the final quadrant in the Bitcoin spiral, and we're coming close to an all-time high. August months are great because then you end up hitting an all-time high shortly after in the October to November months, which I think Bitcoin will do again. So I honestly don't think that August will be a terrible month for Bitcoin. Jim Cramer on top said that, I always despise both August and September. Great news for us. If Jim Cramer is bearish on August, great, fantastic. I mean, the only thing that potentially cancels that out is Eric Trump saying that he's bullish. But overall, I think that August towards the end of the month, specifically the end of the month, will be good overall for Bitcoin. And the rest of the cryptocurrency market, which I now want to go into. So, okay, that's the Bitcoin breakdown. What about altcoins? What do you see for altcoins, CryptoKid? Well, Bitcoin dominance is the answer for altcoins. And Bitcoin dominance, we also said this in previous videos. We said that there's great linear ascending supports. I believe we're bouncing from the golden pocket too. I lost my Fibonacci, but there was a good golden pocket at the 60% area. And because we were at such good support, because this was a reversal candle, we said that, look, altcoins, perhaps it was on the Moon Show, but we said that altcoins will likely lose their dominance relative to Bitcoin in the short term. And actually, I think that the Bitcoin dominance looks like it wants to head back to its highs at the 65% and potentially make a new high. I think that until October, Bitcoin will maintain its dominance. And then into the November, December, Jan, Feb months, you will see Ethereum breaking out and going into the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 areas. And then in the January 2026 months, you will see your other large caps and then mid caps, and then suddenly your micro caps exploding, going 20x and 50x to the upside. I think that will happen end of Q4 to the very beginning of Q1 of 2026. But until those final months of the year, I think Bitcoin will maintain its lead. Ethereum will probably show some strength. And actually, Ethereum is coming down to the resistance of the bullish pennant, also exactly as predicted. We're trying to hold it up very well. And with your 3 weeks position, I think now is a good time to be DCing into Ethereum long positions with the lower leverage if you're using your own capital. But Ethereum maximum pain point, I don't see us going below the low 3,000 to the upper 2.9, potentially the mid to $800. I don't see us going below that. And actually, I think there's a very good chance that Ethereum tries to bounce and start making its move to the prior all-time high. So I'm not really that bearish on Ethereum. I'm actually pretty bullish on Ethereum. And regarding large caps like the Doge coins, like the Solanas, unfortunately, most are breaking below the neckline of the W formation, which, it's not the best, but we didn't go too crazy with our longs anyways. I just think it's a good buy the dip, and sadly, Bitcoin dominance faked us out. It is what it is. But these large caps, specifically the ones that are doing RWA and DeFi, I would consider buying for the long term. Solana, great macro charts, looking amazing with the cup and handle. I really love the BNB macro charts. If you look at the monthly chart, we're actually retesting the resistance of the inverse head and shoulder. So this price action now, I think, is a good time to be accumulating BNB because the macro outlook is so fantastic. So I think it's just a good time to be accumulating large caps. Mid caps to micro caps, I believe there's still time to be positioning ourselves more and increasing our portfolio percentage in the mid to micro cap range. I think there's more time for us to do that. But right now, I think it's a good time to be buying Bitcoin, good time to be DCing into Ethereum and your favorite large caps in the RWA and DeFi category specifically. And apart from that, all we have to do is just wait. So, guys and girls, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I know it's been a super, super, super tiring week in crypto, so do me a favor, please, guys, take a bit of a rest day. The rest of the day, just chill out and try and have some fun, because next week likely going to be a hectic week. So yeah, just take advantage of a calm and peaceful Sunday. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Depends on your time zone and when you're watching the video. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care, guys. And as always, bye-bye.